Hi guys, and welcome to Just Sorare. Follow-up video with my mate Bithorse on how we done. I gotta laugh. Like on how we've done the last game week. This yet to close due to difficulties with Opta. So welcome Bithorse. How are you, mate?
Hi there. I'm buzzing from how good my team did this weekend.
It's been a nightmare. It's to be fair, from what I've seen on Twitter, I don't think there's been so many DMPs everywhere, but mine wasn't to do with any of that, to be honest. It's just I got shit players.
Well, mate, that was a silver lining for me. It was a silver lining that they did. Everyone did shit, but
Yes. So
you can start. Go on.
I'll just go through on my All-Star Division 4. My keeper, Hadanovic. I should have put the other geezer in, the Russian fella, because I think he scored a 76 again.
Oh, my God.
But it wouldn't have got me to 250, I don't think. But anyway, Hadanovic scored after, obviously, because it's a common. I scored 25 points with him. Kruger boy, he bloody scored again for Zenit. So he was on about 80, 90 at one stage because he was going to get a clean sheet bonus, and then they conceded in the last few minutes.
Oh, no.
So, again, he looks, to be honest, I picked him up for about £5 when I first started because he was cheap. So I bought loads of them like that, to be honest, without doing much research on them because they were so cheap. I thought, why not? If they were young, I'd just snap them up, especially if they were playing. Sorry?
He's 22.
Yeah. That was the strategy I had when I first started, was buying young players from good teams. Like Zenit are the best in Russia. I've done a few with Club Bruges, etc. in Belgium. But that's all I've done because, not that I had loads of money to throw at players, because they were so cheap, £5-6. I'd buy like 10 of them for £60 and then just hope that they turned all right. And they have to be, the majority of them have. So, yeah, happy with Kruger boy. And he ultimately got me past the 205 points, which was obviously 0.01 because without him, he was the last game. I would have been snookered. I wouldn't have won sod all. Diego Valdez, I don't know what happened to him. I captained him. He didn't start the game.
No.
I don't know what happened to him. I got no idea.
The week before.
He's been on a great run recently with goals and assists. So I say a great run. The last two games prior to this, he's either scored or assisted to his 70s and 80s. But this game week, obviously, captain him, and he decides he'll have a bit of a rest and start off the bench. So no idea. I hope he starts because he's going to be in my team probably next game. I can't leave him out.
Yeah.
Because he's my favourite player sort of thing. And I don't know, I got a connection with him for some bizarre reason. But it's frustrating.
Sorry,
so I captained him.
Saba, you should have, mate.
Absolutely. So on to Saba. Again, he scored this game week.
That's nice.
So the other videos that I've produced, you'll see I've only recently purchased him because I had his limited card. But this guy's goal and assist record, not just through this season, throughout his career, is immense. There's not many players as a midfielder that have got his goal and assist return. If he was playing, and it's all ifs and buts, but if he was playing for a top side in Europe and he had that sort of return, he'd be worth an absolute fortune. He'd be one of the most expensive players on the platform. However, the issue with him, if he doesn't score or assist, he's not suited to the scoring matrix. I don't know what he's doing in the game. He just doesn't really get involved. He's got a bit of quality, obviously, to put an assist in or a goal. But other than that, he seems to be sleeping half the time on the pitch. He just doesn't contribute in anything else, like dribbling, tackles. So I got no idea. But in terms of goal and assists, in my opinion, for this price, there's not a better player on the platform.
No.
But it meant pound for pound, he's up there with the very best.
When you told me about him, I looked at him. Pretty consistent. He's getting to form again.
Yeah. The issue with him, he has to score on assist because otherwise he's really going to hit over 40 from what I can, looking at his underlying stats. He's not going to hit much more than 40 if he doesn't score on assist. So that's my issue with him. But on a game week, all ifs and buts. If Diego Valdez would have done something or would have started the game for the start, that would have helped. If he would have scored or assisted, that would have, because he was my captain, that would have put me over 250 for my 2F. And then on to Yaremchuk. I've got to be careful because obviously he's Ukrainian and I'm not going to start slating players from that country off because I understand they're going through a lot. And I can't believe he's even in the squad, to be fair, but it wasn't anything to do with what's going on. He had a cold or something nonsense. But like I said, if he would have played, and this is why for me it's a bit of a gamble putting players like Sabat in, because if they don't score on assist, it's going to really affect you getting your 250 points. However, because his record is very good. If you get 3 or 4 players who will all score on assists, you've got a chance of getting a card. And that's the way I look at it. And I'm just taking the chance now. Even though the F is nice, I want to win a card as well.
Absolutely. Let's just find margins for you this week. If Diego Valdez started, if you got that keeper, the one you spoke about, and if Roman Yaremchuk started or played, you would have been maybe hitting 300 points?
Yeah, it would be. I would think it would be over that, especially if a striker would have played and bloody scored or assisted or something. And this is why I don't care who the players are. Obviously, you've got more chance if you're spending fortunes on players. But if you can find relatively decent value players, if they all perform on the same game week, then there's no reason why you can't be looking at tier 1s, tier 2s, However, there is a lot of luck because playing on a smaller budget, you can't afford to buy the consistent players who are going to do in most game weeks because it's just not possible. And so, again, disappointed, obviously, but 0-1F is 20 odd quid. It just keeps building up. And that's, if I was starting today, that's all I'd be aiming to do. Just keep building it up and then start improving your gallery. As when the time comes, if you see a player you fancy, then that would be my opinion on how I would start the game now. So, just all ifs and buts, mate, innit? If he would have played, if he would have started. What's that, mate?
I said you got it and you scraped some money off.
That's the thing. So, no complaints. Just got to try and do better next game week on the weekend, not this game week that started because I got no players.
Yeah, I never get players on the Tuesday.
So how did you get? I'm sure I can't wait to see this. But how did you get on, mate? Is it better than mine?
So here's mine. So we'll speak about my goalkeeper. So good choice with putting Cobble in. He was the last one to play, and the state of everyone else. I think that's the max he can probably get. But I think I messaged you saying I hope he gets like 60 or something. I think he just can't get that. So he did what he needed to do. He kept a clean sheet. It was pretty obvious he was going to.
And that's, in fairness, when you've got a common keeper, if they can keep a clean sheet, that's all you can expect.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, for him to hit 100, they've got to be pulling off 10 saves, keeping a clean sheet, save a penalty.
I was hoping everything would happen. Maybe get an assist or something, But no, he got decisive. he got 42 points, which again I can't argue. So I'm happy with them. Obviously, down the line, progress to rare goalie maybe, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. It's just everyone else.
I would. Sorry to interrupt. If you're just looking for an F threshold team, forget buying a rare goalkeeper, because I've always argued this. On a small budget, you'd be looking, I would assume, as one of the cheapest starting goalkeepers, because you're not, anyone on a small budget, they're not going to be spending $2,000 on a top goalkeeper. So you would be looking at £500-600 perhaps. I don't even know whether you can get a starting one for that now.
I couldn't afford it, I'll be honest with you, but it just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah. But even if you did, the prime example was the guy in bloody Belgium who plays for Beerschot. He's dropped now, Van Hamel. He would have cost, before he got dropped, about £500-600, I believe. Now, because they're so poor and they can see goals, he would have never scored 42 points in the majority of games he's played this season. Wow. So even having a poor rare goalkeeper would very unlikely score 42 points or more. Because they would, so again, anyone watching this, play it how you want to, but my advice, if you're just chasing an F threshold team, just use a good common goalkeeper, because they're better than average to shit ones, basically.
I think it's the best one I've got so far. So I'm hoping. So we move on to Marvin Martins. This guy, so he got 32. Yeah, he gave the punishment for right backs insane. He gave away the ball 18 times. So he got minus 18 points. Yeah. So imagine that, be 40 something. So again, small margins, they won 2-1, not a clean sheet. Then I switched out, what was his name? Big Ass. I Googled him, I think it was 10 minutes before the game week was closing, and it said he was out. Couldn't find anything on this guy. When the game week started, I put him in. It said he had a bruised heel, so he missed the game. So I was like, that's crazy, because what's the other guy's name? Saba? No, not yours is Saba. Mine's Sub. So
Sabo.
Sabo, that's him.
Is it Sabo?
Eric Sabo. He's I'm going. But he got 25 points, which would have given me the threshold. So small margins again. So he didn't play, which made it an uphill challenge. Sonny Dickman, I was high hopes for him, captained him. They were 2-0 down. I think we spoke off it. He had a goal disallowed. He didn't have an assist, and his counterpart in midfield got fouled for a penalty and got a decisive for that. So it's just all against me. But hey, he got 51. Again, pretty happy with that. And then to my striker, Maximilian Philipp, who got subbed off after 50 minutes, I think it was, which kind of sucks. And then another Maximilian Arnold had 2 assists, or assist and a goal. So, I could look at everything and find detail, but I just got to concentrate and just know, as long as he starts, at least a minimum, I'll hit the threshold. Let's just get the start.
If Philip was taken off after about 40-50 minutes, that's not a bad score for the striker who's not scored or assist.
Really?
Or scored or assisted. Because unless they're having shots on goal or creating big chances, there's no real way of them scoring. If you go on the scoring matrix, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of advantages, because there's certain players on who have got 2 different card positions on Sorare. The one that comes to mind is George de Frutos of Levante. Yes. There's a midfielder card and an attacker. Now, depending on the type of player he is, for me, de Frutos is much better as an attacking card than a midfielder, because he will lose loads of points if he's a midfielder for losing duels and things. Whereas a striker, they don't lose points for conceding goals, where the midfielder would. If they lose duels, they're not heavily as punished.
Right.
So that's not a bad score for a striker.
You can see here you got a
You know,
9.4 all-round score.
you know,
You got a double-double.
yeah. And I mean this respectfully. I don't know how much you paid for him, but he's obviously a low-budget player. For that, I'd be quite happy with that, because if he would have scored, you're looking at 70.
Yeah, true.
You know, or assisted.
No, it's good to hear that, because when you get in your own head, you're like, "Oh, he's really bad. He's not done well this week." But
no,
I guess breaking it down, like he was only in for 55 minutes and he's got that score. So
yeah,
I guess you can say he did.
it's a decent score.
Good question for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned before. How would he have got a double-double?
His tackles, interceptions, because even though your chances of defenders getting it more likely than a striker, if they make the definition is on the internet, but a triple, for argument's sake, is 3 interceptions, 3 tackles, and 3 duels won.
Okay.
But for example, if he only won 3 duels and lost 20, he's got to be 3 ahead, if that makes sense. So the easiest way to explain, and the way I have got it in my head, and this is what I think is the ruling, for the triple, if he would have made or had 6 duels and won at least 3 of them, he made 3 interceptions and 3 tackles, that would be a triple. So a double would be 2 of those things.
Well, can you see my screen? It says he lost 1 duel, but he won 5 duels, and that's about it.
Yes. That's important, the duel part. With the striker, I've got go into the defence part of it.
Nothing there. Oh, tackle there. You got no points for it.
Yeah, he's won 2 tackles.
No points.
But strikers don't get points for tackles, but it'll be counted towards his double.
Got yeah. Cool.
So in terms of, he's won 5 duels out of 6 basically, and he's also got 2 tackles. That's how he's got the double.
Okay, that's interesting. So, like you said, if he got a decisive, would have been nice.
If he would have got a decisive, because you would have got a shot on target if he'd scored, so that would be a 3 points, plus you would have hit about 70 odd points if he would have scored based on that.
Which would have fit me right in.
Which, absolutely. But again, you pointed it out. Going back to the doubles, triples. There's a few sites that'll explain exactly what that is, and people need to be aware of it, because defensive midfielders in particular, they're more likely to win it, or centre halves who are challenging for the ball all the time, tackling and intercepting the ball. But there's a few of them online. Just all you need to do is Google what is a triple on Sorare, and then there'll be a few websites that will pop up, and it'll give you the definition of how they score these points.
Yeah, I might do video.
I will do actually. On another point that you made with your defender, fullbacks, and an absolute, they can be, unless you've got a Trent and Alexander-Arnold or somebody, they are punished so heavily, all defenders, for losing possession. It's a point. They lose a point for every time they put a misplaced pass. So, again, within reason and within budget, you need to look at teams who specifically like to play the ball back and forth and not hoofing it.
Yeah.
And a good example is somebody in France. They're not a top team, but if you go on whoscored.com, I think, or one of them, I think they're 8th in the league, 8th or 9th, but possession-wise, they're the top possession side in the league. So it's not necessarily top dominant side, it's just the way they like to play.
That's interesting.
So
That's really
it's important. Yeah, it's important. And look for teams that play three centre halves. Generally, that's what I do if I want to defend, because generally those three centre halves, all they'll be doing is passing 2 yards back and forth to each other, and then pass it on to their wing back to boot it up.
So you don't.
Do you know what I mean?
So for a defender, you don't tend to go for wing backs or left backs.
I would if they've got a good goal or assist record, because even if they hit a decisive, you guarantee if any of your players hit a decisive score, they're going to score 60 minimum. They can't score less unless they get sent off or, if they get sent off, they'll get affected or they score an own goal. But if they score or assist, they will score a minimum of 60 points. So if you've got a wing back who's bombing in and they've got a good record of, like there's a guy who plays for Altnar. I'm sure it's Altnar. Bloody hell, I can't remember his name. Shit. There's a really good player, and his goal and assist record, he costs a bloody fortune, but I can see why, because he seems to assist every game. On my sofa score, when the scores pop up, he's always popping up as the assister. Or Windal, Wijndal. His goal and assist record, I don't know what it's like throughout his career because he's only a young lad anyway, but he seems to assist a lot of the time, just getting his profile. He's played 23 games in the Eredivisie and he's got 8 assists. Wow. Now, for a fullback, that's mental.
How do you spell his name? W-I-N-D-J?
W-I-J-N-D-A-L. Now, 8 assists in 23 games in league games for a left back. That's just bonkers. He's obviously gone off form looking at those charts. And, these are the sort of players, if I had the money, I'd be buying now. Because he's obviously, if I had the money, I just look at players who are off form but have got a good record in the past. He's almost assisting 8 in 23. What's that? I don't know. 1 every 2.4 games or something. Now for a left back, that's quality. But like I said, if money wasn't no object, he'd be one I'd be buying in the hope that he returned it. Because if you look at his graph, his scoring chart back, like his game 153, he's assisted in every one of those games by the looks of things, those green scores. So, he's obviously got some pedigree. He's obviously got a wand of a left foot where he's whipping it in and they're scoring almost every time he's doing it. So unless you can get a full back like that for cheap, then I don't particularly like using full backs. Because the problem is a lot of the cheaper defenders obviously play for less dominant clubs in their league. They might have some 6'8" guy in the box and all they're doing is getting the ball and just hoofing it to him. And half the time it's going astray. So they're going to get punished for doing it.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact.
So I like to find teams who play 3 at the back, centre halves, rather than the standard 4-4. Because my thinking behind that is they're just going to pass back and forth a lot of the time. And then when they do want to get the ball up front, they'll give it to their wing backs to then get rid of it for them. So
that's wicked. Cool, man.
That's just something I look at. But no, you were unlucky, mate, because all it needed was Palmer to play, really, and you would have almost guaranteed to get your 1F or 0.0 to 1F.
Or like you're saying, if Philip, if he lasted the whole game, or there's a lot of things. Just you expect them to play the whole game, or Marvin Martin's not making so many errors or smashing it away. But it's cool. I know you only got for you. Obviously, just sneaked in, and you want bigger things, but at least you got some money back. I scraped it, so I'm quite happy though that my team did okay.
Yeah, it's encouraging, mate, and like I say, with any threshold team, there's so much luck involved because you can't afford to go and buy top quality players who are going to produce every game week. There's a lot of luck, and the strikers for me, like researching strikers now, it's nigh on impossible to get any decent. Well, you can't get decent ones for under 300 quid. You're paying 200 odd quid for somebody who's not even a guaranteed starter.
Yeah, exactly that. That's with Philip. He cost like 210 or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
but you just
he looks decent, to be fair, mate. It's I don't claim to know a lot about him, like his goal and assist record throughout his career, but that score. Honestly, I've had strikers who've started and played the old 90 minutes and they've hit 30 because they've done nothing. So it's and it cost a lot more or they would cost a lot more than 200 quid now.
Yeah.
It's so don't get too disheartened, mate, because your time will come. It's like they say, you just need them all to click on the one game week. And if they all do, I don't give a shit who you're up against. You can be up against a Bayern Munich stack, a PSG, whatever. If all your 4 outfield players score a decisive score, the chances are you're going to win a minimum of a tier 3 card.
Absolutely.
And that's what you
it's nice
got
for
to
you
wait
to
for.
say that. It's quite encouraging, just to stick rather than twist.
Well, it's... I done it a few game weeks ago. I played with a common goalkeeper, and I was fortunate because I don't know whether all of them did, but the majority of them hit a decisive score, and I won a tier 3 card. Oh, yeah. Totally unexpected. I entered the team just thinking, because all I aim for is the 2F. That's my goal every game week. Anything else is a bonus. But, these people who claim on Twitter you can't win anything with a common goalkeeper, it's a load of nonsense, because I nearly won an under 23 one as well using a common goalkeeper, and one of the players didn't play. Had he, I would have probably won a tier 3 with that as well. So don't listen to people saying you can't win cards with common goalkeepers, because I've even seen on certain game weeks that they've actually won Global Division 4 with a common goalkeeper.
Wow.
Okay, they've had Neymars and everything else as their Lewandowskis and all of that in their team, but they also had Alisson, who scored 100 that game, which probably scored 75 as a common. But it's a myth, mate, honestly. And I certainly wouldn't be recommending anyone on a small budget who are just targeting that to go and buy a rare goalkeeper 500-600 quid, because you're better off spending that on your outfield players.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
With 100% rate, honestly.
Wicked.
It's so yeah.
Thank you, man.
Well, mate,
it's nice to see like you had some success this week. Let's see what we do next week.
Limited success. I need 2S. I'm greedy.
Hey, would you be willing to do it again this week? I don't know if you're up for that.
Bloody right, mate. Bloody right. I think it's good because I think it shows people, especially on a low budget, and I done a video on this the other day. If you're putting 500 quid in the platform, realistically, you can't expect to be winning 2F every game week, because it's just not going to happen. As you can see, there's all different reasons why. You had a player who didn't play. I had someone who didn't start. No explanation why. And these are just the things. And I think it's realistic what we're showing, because we haven't got a gallery worth or full of stars, And this is the way I would think that most people, average working class people, play the game. And I think it's a true reflection. And it's frustrating, but I hope people will enjoy it for what it is, because that's just the name of the game. There's a lot of luck involved in Sorare in every aspect, but especially SO5.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so
No,
hopefully
that's the purpose of it. Hopefully, you can see, like, if we do get successful from winning a few things, how we can improve the gallery and stuff. But this is kind of the starting gallery for now, or the team, and see where we go from here.
Absolutely, it'll be interesting to see. Just on a side note, what happens when there's 3-4 games left.
Yes.
Towards the end of the season, whether the prices start dropping, because I don't personally, rare cards, they did the season before when there was hardly any users on Sorare. I don't see it happening this time.
Okay.
I really don't. I just think people are wise. There's only 100 rare cards produced per season. If people can afford not to get rid of them and can afford to buy other players, like for America, for example, they're not going to sell a player knowing in 3 months' time he's going to be worth possibly another 100 quid on top. They're just going to keep them. What's the point?
Yeah.
You know, so it'll be interesting to see, however, because I don't know, just my opinion, but it'll be interesting. But yeah, absolutely, we'll do another video later on in the week with our teams for this game week.
It'd probably be the same. Well, with me, there's not much change, but yeah, we can see how they line up, I guess.
To be fair, mate, I don't think I'm got many options, because I was looking through it, because I'm running in this competition, and
Yes.
please enter, by the way, because I know you're eligible as well.
Do you know link it? You send it over. I'll link it below, mate, or something. We can promote it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, definitely.
Do you explain it quickly in case no one's seen it?
Yeah. If you've got a gallery under £1,000, you own less than 10 rare cards, or you're just playing with full common cards, you will have a chance on Gameweek 258 to play with my gallery and keep the rewards. So check it out, and please enter if you're eligible. And if you're not, someone who might be, then let them know too.
Perfect.
I think there's about 15 entrants we've got so far. The closing date will be Thursday. I think it's 11 o'clock because the game kicks off. The competition I've run is for Hull Saga's score for this game week. And I think his game kicks off Thursday afternoon in the Europa Conference League. So the deadline's 11 o'clock Thursday morning.
Super.
So please enter.
That's such a cool idea.
It would have been even cooler if I'd have run it about 6 months ago, because my gallery back then, before I had to start selling, pay for other things, I'm sure you would have had a great chance, or whoever wins it would have had a good chance to win top rewards. It's harder now because I just simply haven't got those players anymore. But with a bit of luck, what I would like to see is somebody win, obviously some F, but I'd love them to see, or to win a card, because that's what people want. F is good and it's key for me, and it should be key for everyone. But a reward, there's something special, isn't there?
It is, yeah. It's that gambling and the sizes, really.
Yeah, and that is, I remember winning my first reward on Sorare. I couldn't wait. I couldn't sleep the night before. I was like, boy, at Christmas Eve, like waiting for Santa to arrive. I was so excited. And even though realistically I knew he wasn't going to be very good because it was a tier 3, it's still a big achievement, when you win your first one. And it's and I'm sure you will hopefully experience it very soon.
Hopefully, man.
But all you've got to realise is and I say this to anyone now, if you're putting 600, 700, 800 quid into a platform and you could potentially take 40 odd quid out every game week, that's good enough. Anything else is a bonus. But it's unbelievable ROI.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion,
Even with the last 9 game weeks or whatever it is, unless you buy the MLS players moving forward, you can still get, if you've got 2eth each time. That's £400, I think it is.
Well, there you go.
That's
That's it is. I just don't know what more people could ask for, to be honest. But I fully understand people want to win rewards, but they've got to realise it's bloody damn hard to do it now, because there's obviously far more users than when I was on, and the competition is harder. And until Sorare sort the rewards out, then for me there should be more placings now, because they're almost identical to when I started, and there's 100 times many more users now, and there's not many more placings, and it just doesn't seem right. But that's another subject. So yeah, mate, we'll definitely do a video before this, or for the game week that's coming up on the weekend.
Wicked.
And we can see what we can muster. Not a lot, probably, but no, it's. I think it'd be interesting anyway, mate. And it's. I got to check the fixture. I'm getting a bit lazy, to be honest, so I got to pluck my ideas up. In terms of researching fixtures and that, because they're key. I like to bad players who are playing at home, if I'm being honest. A home fixture.
Yeah.
I don't like them especially when they're away to a tough team, because you start thinking they're not going to score, but that's another thing. But yeah, mate, absolutely, we'll catch up later on in the week and we'll get it out, and hopefully people find it useful and a bit of entertainment.
Superman.
That's what it's all about.
I appreciate you being on my channel. Thanks again, man, for just
no problem.
I appreciate that. It's good insight.
All right, mate.
Yeah, we'll catch up next time.
All right. Look after yourself, pal, and I'll speak to you soon.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Cheers, pal. Ta-ra, mate.